Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So before we get started, make sure to hit that like button, also subscribe to my channel. In this video, we will talk about 10 real haunted houses across the United States. So make sure to watch the full video. For some travelers, fall means foliage, apple cider, and pumpkin pie. But there are a few of us out there who are looking for something to really get our hearts racing. While kitschy, haunted house attractions are fairly common in the US, some people want to experience real ghosts and ghouls around Halloween. Lucky for all you thrill seekers out there, the United States is full of historical homes with interesting and spooky stories attached to them. And it's not too hard to find real haunted houses if you know where to look. Anyone who is a fan of ghost hunting or paranormal investigation shows can tell you where you might run into some of the country's scariest real-life ghosts. Famous homes like the Whaley House, the Winchester Mystery House, and Lizzie Borden's Fall River home all have well-known reputations for scaring visitors out of their wits. We get it. Many people like to avoid haunted houses, preferring to stay at bed and breakfasts or inns without sordid past or resident ghosts. Some travelers, though, consider paranormal activity to be the hallmark of a great vacation. The Whaley House Museum, San Diego, California. Back in 1852, James "Yankee Jim" Robinson was hung by his neck for the crime of grand larceny. A few years later, Thomas and Anna Whaley built a house on the spot where Robinson died, and soon enough, Yankee Jim's ghost showed up to haunt the site. It's said that his footsteps can be heard stomping around the house. Yankee Jim isn't the only specter, though. Both Mr. and Mrs. Whaley, a young girl, and even the family dog have been known to make appearances from beyond the grave. The house is so thoroughly spooky that, according to Time, the U.S. Commerce Department officially classified the Whaley House as haunted in the 1960s. See the Whaley House Museum for yourself via a tour with ghosts and gravestones, which now also offers night tours of the house for those really looking for a thrill. House of Death, New York City, New York. New York's Greenwich Village has some of the most desirable real estate in the world, save for one brownstone on West 10th Street. Known as the House of Death, the townhouse is said to be haunted by the ghosts of 22 people who lived or died within its walls, including that of a 6-year-old girl who was killed by her adopted father. This is New York City, however, so the house has a celebrity pedigree too. Author Mark Twain stayed in the house back in 1900, and his spirit reportedly returns for the occasional visit. Winchester Mystery House, San Jose, California. According to legend, this rambling Victorian mansion that sits on a busy street in San Jose, California, is haunted by the ghosts of everyone ever killed by a Winchester rifle. That's undoubtedly a lot of spirits. In order to appease them, the house's owner, Sarah Winchester, the heir to the Winchester rifle fortune, and the founder's widow, kept adding on rooms to the house to make more space for the dead. Winchester didn't simply add rooms, though. She created a labyrinth filled with halls that lead to dead ends, cut-off staircases, sloping floors, and a rabbit warren of chambers. According to ABC News, the house has 10,000 windows, 2,000 doors, 47 fireplaces, 40 staircases, 13 bathrooms, and 9 kitchens. After Sarah died in 1922, the home has hosted tours for those willing to walk among the Winchester ghosts. Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast, Fall River, Massachusetts. Back in 1892, Andrew and Abby Borden were found dead, killed by an axe-wielding psychopath. The police's number. One suspect was Andrew's daughter, Lizzie. Lizzie stood trial for the crimes and was ultimately acquitted, but she spent the rest of her life under the shadow of guilt. She is now said to haunt the Fall River, Massachusetts, home where her father and stepmother were murdered, and her ghost can be heard laughing at the top of the stairs. The house also serves as a museum and bed and breakfast, outfitted with ghost cams, where stalwart guests can spend the night listening for Lizzie's ghost, the ghosts of her murdered parents, or the echoes of the maid's screams after she found the Bordens dead in their beds. The home is open for in-person tours, and for anyone who can't make the journey, they'd also offer equally spooky virtual tour options. Villisca Axe Murder House, Villisca, Iowa. The small Iowa town of Villisca, population of around 1,108, doesn't have much to offer tourists, except for a night of terror at the Villisca Axe Murder House. Back in 1912, the Whitewood House was the site of a horrifying crime that left an entire family, including 4 children and their 2 young friends, dead by an axe-wielding murderer. There were several suspects, including an Iowa state senator, but no one was ever charged with the bloody crime. Some 110 years later, the ghosts of the victims are said to remain in the house, yearning for justice. Visitors eager for a taste of the supernatural can book tours of the site, while the bravest can spend the night and see what goes bump. Bell Witch Cave, Adams, Tennessee. In the early 1800s, John Bell bought a tract of farmland along Tennessee's Red River. Bell and his family thrived on the farm until they started to see strange-looking animals around the property, most notably a dog with a rabbit's head. From that point on, the family was ambushed by unseen forces, largely targeted at John and his daughter Betsy. They experienced physical attacks, heard unexplained noises, and even spoke with the entity. In at least one account, the spirit identified herself as the Bells' former neighbor, Kate Batts, who was exacting revenge from beyond the grave for some unknown slight. The entity is rumored to have prevented Betsy's marriage to a local boy and is believed to have killed John. According to one Bell Witch website, the haunting is backed by plenty of evidence, including eyewitness accounts, affidavits, and manuscripts penned by those who experienced the haunting firsthand. The farm and cave have tours available from May through October. The White House, Washington, D.C. The White House may be home to the president, but it is also rumored to house many illustrious ghosts within its storied walls. President Ronald Reagan reportedly entertained dinner party guests with stories of his dog barking at invisible specters and his daughter Maureen waking to a transparent figure looking out the window of the Lincoln bedroom. It may have been President Lincoln himself, returning to his former home in the hopes of reuniting with his wife and son. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill reportedly encountered Lincoln's ghost as well, while he was stepping out of the bathtub. Lincoln and his wife, Mary Todd, held seances in the White House, according to Mental Floss. They hoped to contact their son, Willie, who died of typhoid, presumably from contaminated water pumped into the White House. They never contacted their son, but they did claim to get in touch with President Andrew Jackson, who was loitering in his former bedroom. The Sallie House, Atchison, Kansas. If you're into ghost hunting shows, you probably already know about this famous haunted house. This unassuming home in Kansas is rumored to be the dark lair for a demon who takes on the form of a little girl, stemming from a family's bizarre experiences there. In the early 90s, new renters Debra and Tony Pickman claimed they saw strange occurrences in the house, including flickering lights, apparitions, possessions, unexplained voices, and strange scratches, marks, and burns on their bodies. These occurrences seem to have been the work of a ghost of a young girl named Sally. Former renters Bobby and Colleen Humbert, along with their daughter Heather, also claimed to have seen or heard Sally, whom Heather claimed was her imaginary friend. Franklin Castle, Cleveland, Ohio. This imposing Victorian house is considered to be the most haunted house in Ohio, and it's easy to see why. It was built in the 1800s by Hannes Tiedemann, who was known around Cleveland to be cruel and abusive. When a string of mysterious deaths in Tiedemann's family happened in the house, those rumors crystallized. Among the many people who suddenly lost their lives in the house was Emma, Tiedemann's daughter, who apparently died due to complications with diabetes. Then Tiedemann's mother and 3 more of his children died. Tiedemann's wife, Louise, also passed away, apparently due to liver failure, but many rumors circulated that Tiedemann was actually responsible. It's also rumored that he murdered other members of his family, including his niece, a possible illegitimate daughter, and his mistress. Tiedemann moved away from the house shortly after his wife's death. Since the tragedies, the house has passed from owner to owner, including the chapter of the German Socialist Party that remained there for 55 years. Locals heard rumors that the house was actually a den for Nazi spies. More recent investigations have found troubling evidence of foul play, including human bones within the walls. Biltmore, Asheville, North Carolina. George Washington Vanderbilt built this stately vacation home in the 1800s. Since then, it has gained a reputation for being one of the most haunted places in North Carolina and the country. While nothing completely nefarious has happened on the estate, the home's former owners seem to remain very active in the afterlife. After Vanderbilt died in 1914, his estate passed on to his children, who decided to open the home up to the public. That's when the paranormal activity apparently began. Visitors have claimed to hear a woman's voice, possibly Vanderbilt's wife, Edith, calling his name, and some say they've spotted some ghostly apparitions. The estate also features a number of hidden doors and passageways, adding to the home's overall spook factor. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Also subscribe to our channel before you go. Thank you for watching.